should probably start with a little background and
Sure.
why are you interested in this in the first place? I know the answer to some of these questions, so they feel a little stale, but you go ahead and tell people who you are.
I always try to think about things to say about music and education whenever I talk about this. So I always go back and try to read articles. And so I found out something the other day that I didn't know, is when Thomas Jefferson was writing the Declaration of Independence, and he was a violin player, which I didn't know.
I didn't know that.
I didn't know it either. Did you know that, Indra?
I did not know that.
Apparently, when he was stuck for a phrase, like when in the course of human whatever.
What is it?
Yeah, process, history. He'd get up from his writing table, walk over to his violin,
have a cigarette.
playing, not have a cigarette, and Indra. All right, and this is a family radio show.
No, it's not.
It's not. Oh, okay, go ahead.
Go for it.
Anything goes.
And he'd play his violin, and he'd come back to the table and say events, right in the course of human events. So that was reassuring to me.
Was that the actual word he was stuck on?
I think so, from what I read.
Yeah, you can see there's a lot of scratches on it.
There's a Wikipedia article, so I can't be sure, right?
Well, but listen, I want to get more into, but let's stay with that for a second.
Yeah.
As a musician myself, the truth of the matter is, like, I can never remember what Dylan says exactly about it, but if it wasn't for art, so to speak, his brain would stay tied up in knots. And I think there's something about music and the process of music that accesses and allows both hemispheres to be moving back and forth a little.
You're absolutely right. And this Jefferson story was very relevant and supportive for me because when I first started doing this, I was working off the Mozart effect, which is the idea of 60 beats per minute. Yeah. Stimulates both hemispheres and enhances learning and memory.
Super learning.
But the problem is I don't do anything at 60 beats a minute.
Yeah, I know.
But then I found out, the Jefferson wasn't playing at 60 beats a minute. But then I came across this research by these psychologists in Scotland who were finding that with classical music, such as Mozart, you retain information, that it stimulates the brain, whether you like the music or not. And so, yeah, it's involuntary.
It's like getting a commercial stuck in your head.
It's involuntary.
You gotta wonder.
And so then I started thinking, well, maybe what I'm doing with music and education is just fun. It doesn't have any real educational value, but that's fine. Right. But then what these researchers discovered was that there's an emotive relationship with pop music. So that if you, the conventional wisdom was that rock music was counter to education. That it was the beats were all too fast. Where these people discovered that if you have an emotional connection to the pop song, so there's an emotive relationship, then it has the same effect that the Mozart effect would have. So then I started thinking about that because when we like pop music, when with love songs, for example, they really get us in the heart and they stay with us forever. And so I was starting to think if we could approach educational music in that way, because educational music tends to be rational, very literal, and not emotive. And they have a staying power. But I started thinking, what if we took the feeling of pop music, that emotive, heart feeling, and try to bring it into educational music somehow, moving it along the continuum where it's still educational, but a little more towards the pop arena. We have a song on the next CD called A Fraction and Decimal in Love, and it's sort of a Burt Bacharach-y kind of song about a fraction and a decimal that meet and fall in love and live happily ever after. And so we're hoping that it works not just in explaining fraction decimal conversion, but also the deep meaning of love.
They live happily ever after with a line over the top. Oh, whoa, math joke.
Whoa, good one, too, Steve.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Have little baby numbers.
And
I've copyrighted that already. So don't even try.
They express themselves in different ways. A fraction and a decimal in love. 0.5 and a little 1/2. The integers who said it wouldn't last. A fraction and a decimal in love. Who can measure the terms they're dreaming of? denominator finds the algorithm, divides the numerator until there's nothing